on behalf of the University of Siena, who is the virtual organizer of this virtual meeting of a real project. I welcome you all. Good morning to everyone, and welcome to the second multiplier event of the EUSTEP project. My name is Federico Pulselli. I'm professor at the University of Siena, and I will try to manage this meeting. The program of this meeting is very rich, but also very agile. So in other words, the meeting will be brief, but hopefully interesting. So without waiting for anyone else or anything else, I leave the floor to the leader of the project, Professor George Malandrakis from Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, for a welcome and a brief introduction. Thank you, George. Enjoy.
Good morning to everybody. Thank you, Federico, for organizing this event. Unfortunately, due to COVID pandemic, we organize it through the web. We hope the next event will be face-to-face. And I also thank you all of you for your participation to this event. As Federico said, I am the coordinator. I'm very happy to be the coordinator of this project. I'm George Malandrakis. I'm from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. And the project is, we call it EUSTEPs, and it is funded by the Erasmus Plus project from the Key Action 2 strategic partnership among universities. There is a consortium between the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, the University of Aveiro and University of Alberta from Portugal, and the University of Siena from Italy. And of course, we have the non-governmental organization of the Global Footprint Network, who joins the consortium. This project has one main goal: to help shape a new generation of sustainability conscious citizens and professionals. And our core target groups are the whole university community, meaning and the educators and the students, undergraduate, master, doctoral students, and the academic staff, and the administrative staff, and the management staff. Through this project, now we are at the end of the second year of this project, we have to produce two main types of deliverables. The first one is educational material about sustainability and about the teaching of sustainability and ecological footprint. The second main deliverable is an online calculator regarding the ecological footprint of universities. For both of these deliverables, you will have the opportunity to get more information during this event. All of this material, all these deliverables and the material and the calculator, it is free of use, free of charge, and you can use it as you want in your classes or in your university. They are also available and in Greek, in English, in Italian, and in Portuguese. A few more words about the educational material. It contains students' book, teachers' book, activities. We still working on the development of a MOOC containing this material, and it is appropriate for all levels of students, undergraduate, master, doctoral, for all disciplines and of all type of universities. This was just a brief introduction from me, and now I'm very pleased to welcome the Vice Rector of University of Siena, Professor Simone Bastianoni, to make his presentation. Dear Simone, welcome.
Hello, and everybody. Sorry, I was starting speaking without muting my microphone. And I have to welcome you since this event is virtually held in Siena. And I regret the fact that we cannot host you live, but I think there is maybe a good point in this, because the attendance can be higher, since maybe several people, if it was live event, could not reach us here. I will share my screen now, and yes. So this is the second multiplier event of the EUSTEPs, and this event is held within an extension of the European Sustainable Development Week and within the Italian Festival dello Sviluppo Sostenibile. It's a big series of events, thousands of events all around Italy in 17 days as the Sustainable Development Goals. Just to tell you about the University of Siena and its roots for sustainability, I have to say that the person that was my mentor and the mentor of several other people here coming from Siena or that studied in Siena, and Sotiezzi started to work on these concepts even before the Sustainable Development statement from the Brundtland Commission came out. And actually there was an attempt that then failed after a few years of making like a think tank of people of different backgrounds back in 30 years ago, when I started joining the University of Siena, where people coming from, let's say, hard sciences and more social sciences discussed together about what sustainable development should be. And so the roots in the University of Siena for the study of sustainability are very deep. Nowadays, we have started something that has been taken as a model for many or several Italian universities now. In 2012, we started a sustainability course dedicated to all the university students and to the personnel of the university. Because we thought that the sustainability is a horizontal problem to be faced from all the viewpoints. And in fact, professors of many disciplines and hosts coming from many disciplines are coming together to show how sustainability can be seen from different viewpoints and enrich the students with these styles that then the students should make and take and form her own mosaic for understanding and then teaching and then using the sustainability concept. And since last year, we have, actually this year, we have started to make a sustainability report for the University of Siena that covers more or less all the aspects of sustainability. And the important point that I want to underline is that the results of EUSTEPs will feed the sustainability report of the University of Siena. in the next version that will appear in few weeks, we will just announce that EUSTEPs is providing new information that should feel a part of the sustainability report. But then, starting from next year, we will show also the results of of your calculator. Going back to my personal scientific background, I remember Enzo Tiezzi coming back from Stockholm in 1992, and he had just met Bill Rees and Mathis Wackernagel, and he said, "Oh, I heard a very, very great young PhD student starting his presentation with the words, 'Imagine we have two Earths.'" And he was enthusiastic about this, the guy who was presenting, and the concept they were presenting. It was ecological footprint, actually. And he recommended me to follow closely the development of ecological footprint and the career of this guy, Mathis Wackernagel. And I did. And several of my co-workers have been trained in ecological footprint. They're now here present, by the way. The first two were Valentina Nicolucci and Alessandro Galli. Then they have their own heritage, let's say. And so I'm glad that now, knowing the potential, the scientific potential on one side and the communication potential on the other side, that multiplied together make the ecological footprint as probably the best, for sure, one of the best instruments to measure sustainability. And I'm very glad that now you are using these to show the performance of the universities. And now with this, I look really forward to seeing the university footprint calculator. I don't think that will look like the one I have depicted, but anyway, I wish you a great multiplier. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Simone, for participating and giving this presentation, stimulating presentation. Now we can go ahead and start the second session of the meeting, dealing with the teaching module that EUSTEPs partners have provided to everyone. And as George said before, all the material and the scheme and the framework and all the stuff related to the module is available, subject to registration, in the website of EUSTEPs, and can be used almost everywhere for educating almost every kind of student. So we are not, but briefly, the content of the module, but we are trying to extract some information from the practice, because we have been implementing the module for a couple of academic years. So we have some interesting results that we can show to you. And we will have three moments. The first one led by Professor Sara Moreno Pires, the second one led by Sandra Caeiro from Aveiro University and Università di Aperta, respectively. And the third moment is open to everyone who experimented the exercise and wants to give some feedbacks to us and to the other colleagues. So I leave the floor to Sara for her presentation. Thank you, Sara.
Good morning, bom dia from Portugal. Welcome all again. And I will briefly show you an overview of what we have developed so far regarding this teaching material. I hope you can see my screen now. Yes. Okay, so thank you. As Professor Federico said, I will just provide you a brief overview of what we developed these last 2 to 3 years of the EUSTEP project. And the main goal was to embrace and to build a sustainability module to be teach to students of, as also George, the coordinator, said, to all type of students from universities to any degrees and any courses. So we prepared a module that is quite flexible to be used by professors of any field from 6 to 12 academic hours, and it can be adapted to the goals of each specific discipline or each specific course. To be able to spread and to help professors also to apply this module for students, we prepared a training course for educators and also for PhD students that had a specific role helping us developing the footprint calculator for universities. And with this training course, we provided a guide for educators that is also available in our website to help implementing the EUSTEP module for students. And as we said at the beginning as well, the project intends to embrace all the university communities. So it is very important to involve also the administrative staff, researchers, and all the community of the university. So we prepared a training course also targeting this group of people to educate them on sustainability and involve them in sustainable practices at their universities. So our module that we called Sustainability Around Us, from Theory to Practice and Back, to be applied for students of any degree, as I said before, it was structured in 7 main concerns. So our main goals of the project was to discuss the concept of sustainability, of ecological overshoot, and to link, of course, with the Sustainable Development Goals agenda of the United Nations. So basically these 3 main introductory discussions and debates to use the ecological footprint concept and to target and to link this concept with our daily lives, with our personal activities, to then explore how we can change university practices and bring this concept of our daily life to the whole community where we live, society and the university. So we also targeted how the concept of sustainability can be applied in universities, specifically in universities, campus, teaching, researching, and so on, and then a closure of all the learning of these topics. So we provided, I will not further develop these more now, but just to let you know that we provided a lot of educational materials, from class exercises to PPTs, videos, instructions for professors, homeworks, and further documents for reading. And also we developed several different activities, dynamic activities, from games to the use of the individual footprint calculator and so on, just to bring these main features of the course to the teaching of the module. So all these exercises and activities are available in the 4 different languages the project provided. So regarding the training course for educators, you will see that we developed it online as the pandemic made us change the plans, and we did this course online for all the 4 universities involved, and the main topics were the same as the teaching module. So we want to introduce the project, and we also to introduce the program and the goals of the programs to the educators and PhD students. And we wanted to center in the ecological footprint and sustainability concepts, and then how to teach the EUSTEP model for the educators. And for the PhD students, we targeting the how to build the calculator, how to design the calculator and the parameters to include in this footprint calculator for universities. So this training course had the main goals to involve the educators, not only to make them use the materials that they will provide to students, to involve them also in their personal role and their behavior, but also to understand how to implement all these module for students. So we developed also the same activities that we prepared for students, we developed with educators and with PhD students. Finally, for the staff, we also developed already this year in different ways. We developed face-to-face in 2 universities and online in 2 other universities, but basically with the same topics and with the same goals, to involve to the staff to understand the concept of sustainability, how it is so interconnected with our daily activities, and how they can use this into their activities in the university. So we developed also the same type of games, the same type of activities, debates and discussion forums. It was very successful, as Professor Sandra will tell you the results of these. So to finish, it is really really brief, this introduction, just to let you know that in our website, in the resources part, you have access by with a brief registration, you can have access to the materials that I have told you about, the guide for professors and all the materials for the students module. So thank you so much for your attention, and we are happy to guide you through the implementation of these materials. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Now I invite Professor Sandra Caeiro to give a presentation to everyone.
Okay, good morning to everybody. I'm just sharing the screen with a brief PowerPoint. Are you seeing it in the, okay. So good morning, as I said, and it's good to have this opportunity to share with all the community briefly, and based on what my colleague Sarah presented in the different courses we taught, what was the feedback from all the participants, if they enjoyed and if our goal was achieved or not. And this is briefly what I'm going to present. We call it a successful experience according to the results we have so far. So as Professor Sarah said, we had a first pilot course in 2020 for university students that it was taught in for the participant universities of the project, and some gave it online in case of Universidade Aberta, and the others a mixed between face-to-face and e-learning since the pandemic started. Then we had the training course for educators and PhD students, the training for administrative staff, which was done jointly with Universidade Aveiro and Universidade Aberta Online, and two separate training at Universidade of Siena and Thessaloniki. And we had already the first Multiplier event and the second Multiplier event, and in the future the MOOC. So what I'm going to present is the results from the training that already been realized in 2020 and 21. So we had in the pilot, at the pilot phase, that what taught in 5 universities, we had 52 students, and the results we have from the feedback is from this pilot. But we know that the model has been taught to some more than or around 1,000 students, and inspiring the model, because the big advantage is that the people can download the materials and use it whenever they want to. I mean, in the way they want to, one model or one material, one PPT, the game, whatever. The idea is to be flexible, but from the feedback we have, it's already been used in a large scale at Paulista University in Brazil. Then from the online training course for educators and the PhD student, we had 34 educators and 20 PhD students. And the idea of the PhD students was start working and helping us in developing the ecological footprint calculator, online calculator for the universities. And we had students from and educators from different nationalities, from Portugal, Greece, Italy, Brazil, Netherlands, and Slovenia. And then the training course for the administrative staff, we had 27 administrative staff from the different universities and 6 trainers. And we had people with different backgrounds and roles at university, from coordinators, administrators, from the laboratories, directors, technical assistants. So people from different backgrounds were really engaged in this course. So what we've done to evaluate the success, or now if people enjoy the course or were satisfied with the course, we conducted a questionnaire, online questionnaire survey. And the idea was to evaluate if they were satisfied with the characteristics of the general characteristics, how the course was developed, the educational materials, the activities we developed, as my colleagues are represented earlier, the different activities and the different materials, their intentions and satisfaction. Now, just a brief ideas to see how many downloads we had so far, since the materials are available on the website. We had until so far 195 downloads for people coming from 33 different countries, which is for us a very good result, since all the materials are available not so long ago, and they are available in the 4 languages, as we said. And so far is Italy on the front, followed by Portugal with a higher level of downloads. But it's good to know that we have people from different places in the world that are downloaded our materials, because this is one of the main goals of this project. Now, just showing briefly some results according to the EUSTEP model for students in the pilot. We had in overall a very good satisfaction level in all the different dimensions we asked students for. In terms of the total feedbacks, 19% of satisfaction, of overall satisfaction. They were also satisfied with the contents and structures, also with the homework assignments and the online calculator. We know that the students were very happy or engaged and motivated when they really calculate their ecological footprint, animated in a way, and others worried with the bad results they had, but it was shown to be a very good tool as awareness and education. So as I said, it was an overall good level of satisfaction. Sorry. In terms of the training course for educators and the PhD students, so this is also very important, because these educators are now using these materials with their students in their courses. So it was important to see if they enjoy it. And once again, we have a very good rate of satisfaction in the different dimensions we asked. Also, in terms of the PhD students who had some feedback and collaboration for the calculation of the ecological footprint, and also in help of the calculator for the universities that we are developing, and we are going to present it further on this meeting. Most of the teachers said that they want to use these materials within their own courses, which was a good result. Of course, this is an intention, but we know that a lot of them are now using their materials, already use them, as I shown in one of the first slides. Now, finally, about the training course for the administrative staff, we also had, and we were very happy with the engagement, and this is only the preliminary results from the experience of the joint course in Portugal from Universidade Aberta and Universidade Aveiro. But we realized that it was a very high level of satisfaction and engagement of the training staff, which was a good result for us. So once again, we had a very good feedback, not only in a general way, but also in the feedback that they felt that the teachers of this training give to them. And they really enjoy the educational videos that we use to transmit the knowledge and the concepts. And we had also a 90% level of satisfaction. So finally, we think these results are good. Of course, they are auto evaluation because they've done it in the questionnaire. But as an overall, we think it's a very good result so far. So thank you for your attention, and let's continue with this event. And thanks for the opportunity to share these results.
Thank you, Sandra. I just want to remember that the teaching module is a didactic section made of 6 to 12 hours that can be included within every kind of ordinary university course, in any degree course to be proposed to students of any level. Now we have time for observation, comments, suggestions from the audience. And I know we have already 3 people that can give a brief comment about their experience with the teaching module. They are Costanza, Margarita, and Ioannis from Italy, Portugal, and Greece, respectively. So you have a couple of minutes each for giving us your feedback, and then any other can intervene after this brief communication. Please, Costanza.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give my feedback. So yes, I implemented the EUSTEP models in my teaching class, and I in particular was teaching European law at University of Biotechnology, so at University of Siena. So it was about the how it is regulated at the European level, biotechnology and other related fields. So it was also about genetically modified organisms and also about environment. And so the EUSTEP models was really fit for the class. And yeah, my feedback is really positive. So I used the material that was on the dedicated website, and I registered before, and then I could download all the material, and then I used some PowerPoint presentation that Federico shared with me also, and that were in Italian, and I chose what to talk about. And in particular, we did the fish game at the beginning, and yeah, it was everything online because last year, because of COVID, it was online. So, but we managed to do the game. Then I talk also about all the topics of the EUSTEP models. And at the end, we used also the ecological calculator to calculate the ecological footprint of every student. And then they wrote the result in the chat. And there was a very good participation because with online classes, usually there are only a few students who participate, but normally at every class, while with the EUSTEP model, the participation was much higher. And so I think that that was a good result. And also with the ecological footprint calculator, the participation was even higher. And so, and everybody wrote in the chat the result. And then we discussed together how to improve, because the ecological footprint of almost all the students was really high. And so we discussed how that could be improved. And they were all interested. And I also asked them afterwards if they liked the lesson and if they thought that they could do something to improve. And they were all interested, and they said that they will think about it and really try also to do something to improve it. So I think that in general, the feedback is really positive. Of course, maybe if it was not online, it could be possible to interact more and with students and with all of them, because online, maybe some are connected but are not really there, or of course you cannot control that everybody is participating, but really almost everybody wrote the result in the chat, and then we had a discussion with many of them. And so I think that it was a good result, and I wanted to thank you because it was really interesting and it fit really well in the course in general. So thank you very much.
So thank you. Thanks for sharing this experience. Please, Margarita.
Hello,
good morning. Hello.
Good morning to all. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm going to share shortly my experience. I presented and used some of the materials to the students of economics, the first cycle of economics, so for the third year. And the signature was natural resource economics. So the students were very enthusiastic with these materials and these topics, because they are often used to hear about sustainable development goals in a theoretical way. And with these materials and this approach, they could see how they can contribute to these goals in their daily lives, and in particular in the university. So they did the exercise of seeing in particular departments or university facilities, as the library or the canteen, how can they change things? They or some superior authorities can change things to contribute to these goals. So it was very interesting for them to see how they can change things and contribute to these goals that they are used to see as some goals that they can not achieve by themselves. So they see them as things that only policymakers and superior authorities can contribute or change. So they can in their daily life change these things, and they were very enthusiastic about that. Also about the ecological footprint. The use of the calculator to see their personal ecological footprint was also very interesting. They are very curious to see which activities of their daily life contribute more to the carbon footprint, what can they change in their behavior to reduce their carbon footprint. And I think these materials were very important to change their behavior, their knowledge about these topics. And also I used the Fisher game And this was also a very dynamic activity and interesting activity for them to see how an economic activity, because they are from economics, can manage profits, also respecting the resources, in this case fish, in a sustainable way. So thank you very much. This was a very good experience for me as professor and for the students.
Thank you, Margarita, for your contribution. Yannis, please.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. So my name is Yannis Kondos. I'm a Doctor Civil Engineer and a Teaching Associate in the Department of Civil Engineering in the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. I teach the course Groundwater Resources Exploitation and Restoration during the last 3 years. And during the 1920 academic year, I was asked to implement the EUSTEPs teaching material in the course. About 15 students, male and female, attended the lectures. I should say at first that we should look into the results of this implementation, taking into account the strange conditions due to the pandemic. So the courses were online. There was a mixed outcome. There was not a real interaction with the students. But on the other hand, the teaching staff had to make the presentations more interesting to balance that. So the material of the EUSTEPs program was really interesting and fresh. So in the series of lectures of the course I had scheduled, there was one lecture concerning climate change, but now I had a motive, and there was a motive for even more relevant information. The assignments were interesting, especially the ones that were interactive among students. So the fish game was the most successful action, and students were really interested, some of them excited, to tell the truth, while they were really lazy with the cameras off during the previous lectures. I found that they had real excitement about this action. So that was one of the lectures that was amongst the most vivid ones, with a high level of active participation and excitement. The personal online food recalculator also was received with disbelief at first by the students, but they finally found it quite interesting, seeing how they could quantify their everyday life and habits as carbon footprint. And that triggered a really interesting conversation on the reliability of such methods, which was really interesting for me and the students too. On the other hand, I have to say that the more theoretical abstract actions and assignments were looked upon with a bit of disbelief and laziness by the students of my course, at least. So while they were really interested in the more practical assignments, and they were not so interested in the essay type, write your thoughts about actions. So bear in mind that this is an engineering department. I myself experienced a little frustration and discontent as the students when I read these essay type assignments that said write your thoughts about. But as far as I'm concerned, the material was a really good base, a solid ground to open up new subjects that were not scheduled into this course. So the fish game especially was very interesting, and it gave me the idea to adjust it to the schools, to the departments and the courses scale. So I introduced students to game theory and economic games, just like the fish game is. And we talked about common pool resources games, where of course our resources were water resources. This really blew the minds of the students. And this was one of the best lectures. And it is quite an advanced subject. I would not have done it if it wasn't for the fish game. So we actually got to discuss, and I got to give assignments, online assignments to the students, discussing scientific papers titled, listen to the titles, Game Theory and Water Resources, Cooperation and Punishment in Simulated Aquifer Exploitation, Altruistic Behaviors and Imposition of Bounds in the Exploitation of Aquifers, Stealing from the Poor, Game Theory and the Politics of Water Markets. So these are subjects and papers that if I gave them to my students, if it wasn't for the fish game, they would run away. They would never again come to one of my lectures. But this was a really good trigger for this kind of conversation and assignments. So the simplistic fish game opened up a door for something that in other circumstances students would run away from. I also had a guest lecturer, a PhD student, dealing with game theory and water resources. So he talked about his PhD. There was a really interesting conversation. And even some of the students got interested in writing a diploma thesis around the subject. So overall, the implementation of these actions of EUSTEPs in the course I taught, at least, was really successful. There should be some tweaking and adjusting for students in engineering studies, I think. For example, in our cases, towards water resources, and even more interactive actions, pushing students to use or even create new tools in order to understand the various terms and notions concerning climate change, sustainability, etc. This was my experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yannis. That was very inspirational. Thank you. Now we have time for just one or two further comments. If there is someone who wants to tell us something, suggestion, comments, observation, criticism as well.
Fede, I see that there are also a few comments that have been written by Luis and by John. So
Okay. I didn't
I don't know.
Didn't get it.
Yeah.
Martina, from the part of the students, was grateful experience thanks to the highly interactive way that made the course much more dynamic and never boring. It's very important to have a feedback from a student, so thanks, Martina. Someone wants to share that. I have some problems in reading the comments in the chat. I noticed that Asia was poorly represented in your download list, and China, where I'm currently based, not at all. I look forward to introducing faculty here to your working concept. Okay, you're right. We will do something to fill this gap. I'm an expert Australian with a Polish heritage, living and working in China. Totally confusing.
It seems that we have to try to disseminate within Asia the materials.
Yeah, you're right. Good morning. Martina is saying, thanks for the presentation. I work at the University of Pavia, Italy, and we are getting more and more engaged in improving the overall campus sustainability. So this topic is very interesting to me. I have a couple of questions. Is the carbon footprint calculator freely accessible to anybody? I don't know what you refer to. The Instant footprint calculator online. Yes, the footprint calculator that will be presented in a few minutes. Not yet, but it will be available for everyone. I can't find where to register on the project website in order to access the project resources. Can you share the link?
And just put the link.
Okay, perfect. So I think that, thank you, Martina. Thank you very much. I think this session can be over. Yes, Sarah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but just a comment from Luis. I think it was the first of all comments, and maybe you didn't get it, because he made a quite interesting point. He works at Mallorca Resilience Center. He's building the Mallorca Resilience Center, and he's wondering if these materials could be applied to not a university. And I think all the materials are free, and you can, and all the organizations, even if they are not universities, they can use some of the activities, games, slides that are there to engage people in organizations that are not universities. So please, Luis, feel free to check the materials and see if they can be applied to your organization. I'm sure they can be used.
Thank you so much to pulling this thing out. Just because I'm just jumping out from academia, trying to provide solutions for real people, just in rural areas where they have problems with harvesting water, regenerating the soil, and well, actually it's just provide solutions in that scenario. I would be so pleased to see all your experiences in real person, because I think this is what connects more with the feeling, no, to do it well. So thank you so much. I've seen a lot of replies to my inquiry, and I'm quite overwhelmed. That's why I'm a bit stopped. But thank you so much, and I'm going to pay time to see this thing carefully. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis.
Thank you very much, Luis. Thanks, Sarah, as well. I think
Federico,
both
please.
George and Alessandro want to say something. Please,
Yeah,
George.
just a clarification, Federico, 10 seconds. Just to avoid a confusion, we have two calculators. The one already existing, developed by the GFN, which is a calculator, an online calculator about the personal, the individual ecological footprint. And Alessandro and me just send the link of this calculator in the chat. Today, in a couple of minutes, Serena and the whole EUSTEPs group will present another calculator, which is an online calculator about the ecological footprint of universities, not of individuals, of persons, of universities. This is a new one. This is the second main deliverable of this project. Unfortunately, it's not already yet to provide you the link, but we hope in a couple of weeks we will be able to do this. Okay.
Months. Months. Soon. Now, I just wanted I share my screen 1 second very quickly, just to say, okay, here. So if you go, because people are asking where to access the material, so if you go on the website resources and you select teaching material, you can access this page. So all you need to do is like put your name, last name, the organization or university, the country, and your email, click submit, and then you will enter a page where you have all the different material and you can download everything. This is completely for free. We are just putting this so we can keep track of who is using it. And then if you want to contact us, there is the contact page. You can contact George or you can contact Letitia. I will say that in general, I mean, Luis, if you have a look at the material, and then there is, I think, like changes or modifications that are necessary to fit more for the type of real people that you are dealing with. I think we can find ways to work together to adapt, let's say, the material to your audience. And similarly, I mean, I think with John, we will be very happy to discuss with you how to disseminate this more in China. I mean, the project is a European project, so most of the outreach has been conducted so far within Europe, although we have seen a very high interest from US as well. This because Global Footprint Network probably is like US based, so we have people from US that are following us. But in general, I mean, we will be very happy to discuss with you how to bring this more, let's say, in China or in the rest of Asia. Yeah, that's it.
Grazie mille, Alessandro.
Oh, prego.
So thank you all. We must go ahead and we can pass to the next fantastic session because it will deal with the presentation of the first draft of the footprint calculator for university campuses that will be available for every university in order to make them able to calculate every year, hopefully, the ecological footprint and the level of sustainability of the entire organization. The session will be managed by the two members of the Global Footprint Network, that is the non-governative organization that as a partner of the EUSTEP project, and in particular Alessandro Galli and Serena Mancini in this order. So Alessandro, the floor is yours, please. You can share your presentation.
I'm going to share the presentation.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Fede. Okay, so as we have seen, I mean, this morning from George and then the other colleagues, we are really trying to go on these two parallel tracks. One is the teaching of sustainability, but the other one is the practicing of sustainability. So you go next slide. So why this is really important? Because we have seen that there is an increasing focus in the teaching aspect, but still there are, let's say, limited tools and possibilities to really also bring the idea of sustainability into the overall management of universities. So the idea is to provide a tool that can allow this second part, let's say, the practicing what universities preach. So if you go to the next slide, why it is important, this aspect of monitoring the sustainability, because of course, I mean, on one side, universities, let's say, host let's say a fair amount of people, let's say, are engaged somehow with the university, and there is a need to increase the ecological performance. There is also, I think, a need to decrease sometimes the impact of the activities that are being conducted in universities. And what we want to do is also engage the entire community in this process in order to help everyone, not only the students, but also, let's say, the staff, green or increase the sustainability level of the place where they work or where they study. So as it was mentioned before by my colleagues, we have been trying to build a calculator really by engaging everyone. So in this process, we have worked together with the PhD students. We have worked also with university students. I mean, there are a couple of students that are now doing their university thesis on these in various universities, and so it's really also the administrative staff. We are trying to engage everyone in the definition of this tool. So if we go to the next slide, I would like to say that the interest about creating, or let's say, wanting to have a way to measure the ecological footprint of the university is not new. There have been several universities across the world, I will say, that have tried in the past decade to apply the ecological footprint at the university level, either for teaching reason or many of them to try to manage the use of resources within universities. But what we have seen is, to some extent, the lack of consistent approach across universities. The type of issues or drivers of resource use that are included in the various attempts are really very different among them. So in this graph, you see that almost all of the studies that have assessed the ecological footprint of universities have included mobility, and most of them have included the use of fossil fuels and electricity and energy in general within the assessment. But then if you look at water use, waste generation, or the consumption of food, it's really like you see decreasing percentage. So for instance, only half of the existing studies include food. So the point I'm trying to make is that there is some arbitrariness in what gets included and what gets excluded from an ecological footprint at the campus level. So next slide, what we try to do with this track of the EUSTEP project is really to try to provide some more coherence in the definition of what a campus or a university ecological footprint should be, and provide a tool that can be, let's say, kind of a standardized tool that can be used in a coherent and also comparable manner across different universities. So we have started from all the existing studies. We have consulted with the administrative staff to get their opinion of what should be included. With the PhD students, we have also had several conversations with experts in UK, in US, and the rest of Europe about like university sustainability. And we came up with this overall structure of what we would like to, we think should be included into the assessment of a university footprint. So first of all, we realized that there are things that are under the direct control of the administration, meaning that the administration can decide for, let's say, the travel missions of their staff, how the staff could travel, if you use train, cars, public transportation, or so on. But there are also areas that still somehow are related to the university activities, but over which the administration has an indirect control. This is, for instance, how you, let's say, as professors that are teaching at a university, commute to work. This is really not something that the university can tell you, I mean, how to do, but through some interventions, for instance, like the providing free monthly pass for the public transportation system or discounted pass, they can encourage, let's say, one behavior over the other. So we have define firstly these two, the fact that we want to track these two different areas, what is under the direct control and what is under the indirect control of the administration. This calculator, as George was clarifying before, is supposed to be used by the administration of the university. And under the direct control, we have basically we have structured the calculator to include 4 main areas. So the infrastructure and utilities, then the activities of the university community, so the travel, the use of materials, equipments, and so on, the food that is catered, I mean, provided in the various cafeterias and restaurants of the universities, and then, let's say, the labor that is provided by the actual teaching activities. And we also have a 4th area, which is holding events, which we know is becoming an activity in which universities are increasingly involved, but it is not active yet in the calculator, but we would like to include it in future edition of the calculators. And then under the indirect control, you see 3 main areas, and this is also, so the commuting I was mentioning before, but we have seen I mean, in the last year and a half, 2 years, many of you have been forced to teach from home. So this is, of course, another way of providing education to students. So we want to capture also this style with the energy and the internet connectivity and what is the footprint that is caused by, let's say, teaching from home, and at the same time also capturing the food that is consumed at home, let's say, during teaching hours. So this is the overall structure of what is going to be included in the calculator. And I just want to end my part of the presentation before Serena walks you through the, let's say, the prototype that we have right now of the calculator, is that we are seeing the universities, let's say, as serving 2 main functions, which are, let's say, teaching and research. So results will be provided in a sort of how efficiently the universities are operating in providing these. So what is the footprint per student that is being educated? It can be also number of graduation in a year. And what is the footprint per staff that is providing education? And similarly, on the research side, we want to see how many resources and emissions are caused because of, per publication produced or per euro of research funds that is received by the university. So these are metrics that will be provided by the calculator to give a sort of efficiency in the functioning of the university. So I've done with my part. Sere, it's up to you now.
Yes. Thank you and hello everybody. So I'm going to show the calculator by navigating directly into it. Although as George has mentioned and also Alessandro, I have to clarify that the calculator is not live yet because we are still working on few refinements and adjustments. But the main feature, structure and functioning is in place. And so I am mostly showing how it is going, the calculator is going to work and how to use it. So we are working to, as was saying, we are working to have it completely ready in the coming couple of months when it will be officially launched and properly communicated by EUSTEP project. So let's go and jump into it. So it's going to be basically a sort of a spoiler for all of you. Okay. And here we go. So this is the landing page of the calculator. In this page, the main information of the EUSTEP project are shown. There are two main features that I'd like to explain. First of all, there is the language selection here on top right of the page. So the calculator is set now in English, but by the time of the official launch, it will have 3 additional languages implemented that are the 3 languages of the EUSTEP project. So Italian, Greek, and Portuguese, in addition to English, of course. And in the future, also other languages may be implemented as well in the future. And the other feature is the login or registered mode. So the calculator will be freely accessible online by everyone, even without registering and having an account. But what we strongly suggest is to use it by creating actually an account, because this gives some privileges that for instance, are the possibility to save the progresses of the calculator, save results, and also having multiple users. So as George and Alessandro were saying, the calculator is intended to be used by the administrative office of one university, but they can invite other users to use the same account with their own email and with a different role. So different roles can be assigned to the multiple user. These roles are the edit role, view role, or admin role. But okay, let's pretend to log in. Okay, I don't need to input any account because it's a preview mode. So I log in. And this is the home page of the calculator. So as I was saying, just to show you, this is how to invite users. So here is the administrative can include the email and assign different roles from here. Okay, but let's, so we have logged in into the calculator, and this is the home page. So the home page is made of a top menu and a map. the map is reflecting the conceptual map that Alessandro was explaining before. So this big map on the right represents the direct, let's say, all the action that happens under the direct control of the university, of administration. So here, these figures represent all the buildings and all the facilities within a campus, and these icons represent the white boxes of the conceptual map. So all the action and consumption happening in the university. So for instance, we have food, we have the travel, the mobility, we have the buildings, the cleaning, and so on. On the right, the smaller map on the right, a bit detached from the bigger one, we have represented the action under the indirect part of the university. I mean, the action that are not under the direct control of the university. And so this, the energy at home and internet connectivity, the commuting, and the food consumed. On top of the page, we have a menu that is basically is a menu mimicking the same as the map. So these buttons, 9 buttons, are representing the section of the direct control with the university, and these 3 buttons represent the indirect part of the calculator. So the users can access the calculator either by clicking on the menu or by clicking on the map. Okay, so now let's go into it. I will go by clicking on the top menu, and the calculator shows each section and each question within each section. So here we have the general information, users input data in these boxes, and then they can save. So to move on in the calculator, it's possible either to save here and the calculator moves to the next section, or if one wants to jump into another section that is not next, one can just click on the buttons here on top. And okay, so we can go into the energy, and here we enter into the energy section. As you can see here on top, there is like a title saying where which is the section we are in, and showing question how many pages of input data are for any section. So in this case, for instance, there are 2 pages. So we fill all the data in here. We click on save, and the calculator goes automatically on the second page. And so we fill the data in here, and then again, we save, and the calculator goes to the next section. Another important feature that has been implemented in this footprint calculator is this bar on the bottom of the page showing partial results, meaning that here we have 2 footprint values displayed. One is the footprint of the specific section we are in, and the other number is the total footprint of all the calculator, or at least let's say, better say, the total footprint of all the sections that have been completed up to this point. And this bar on the bottom shows the share footprint of all the sections that have been completed. So this is showing dynamically the result. So the results evolve as we progress through the calculator. Okay, we can move on. We go to the food part, and here again, as you can see, there are 2 pages, but we want to move ahead and go to the cleaning, mobility, and here we have water. So another features, so depending on the section, users may be able to input data either for the whole entity of the university, so inputting the total value, or where is possible, there is a button that expands the input data, and users can input specific data building by buildings of the university if they have available. If not, they can just input the total value in here. So we can save. Yeah, as you can see, here are 3 pages. Then we move on. This is the last section of the direct part. And so and as you can see, another feature is that as we complete each section, question marks are shown on top of the menu. So users can keep track of what they have already done. And so now we can move to the indirect part of the calculator in this 3 button. So the indirect part of the calculator provide the possibilities to choose between 2 approaches. One is the tier 1. That is the tier 1 can be selected when no specific data are available, and so the calculator does an automatic calculation based on hourly share of individual footprint for transportation, housing, on food, depending on of the section we are in. And so if we click on tier 1, the calculation moves to the next section. But tier 2 is an approach that can be selected when the administration are able to collect specific data among students and staff, and so they can input the related data in here, and the calculation is going to be more specific, more university specific. And as you can see, even here in the indirect part, sorry, we have the same the bar on the bottom showing partial results. We can say, and once we have completed all the section, but actually this page can be accessed whenever, we are now in the university results page. So here all the results are shown, and these values represent the different metrics that Alessandro also was explaining. So the total footprint is allocated by number of staff in a year, number of students, number of graduation or publication, and funds received, as well as we have the total value of the university here. This graph provides the results split in the 2 main part of the calculator, direct and indirect, with the related breakdown of the various section. And if we scroll down again, we can toggle between the direct and indirect results and have a look at specific footprint result in that part of the calculator and each specific section. So for instance, here we are in the direct results. We get the footprint value of just the total of just the direct part compared to the total value of the university. And also we have an overview of the footprint result of all the section. And we can also go into each specific section and have a look at the specific result. So depending on the section and the type of data collecting and the type of calculation, the calculator show different graphs and results. So another so here we can't see yet, but all these graphs will be downloadable by the users. And so the graph and the figures may be also included in any report of the sustainability, in any report about sustainability that university may have, just as Simone Bastianoni was saying of the sustainability report of University of Siena. And so this is basically the calculator. Just let me finish by coming at the home page, and just I want to show you that we have a dashboard where here all the every time that the university decided to take the calculator, the results are shown here. And so the university can monitor its footprint results over time, and also making edits, or if a university does not complete the calculator in just one section, then can resume the work from here. Okay, so this is the main functioning of the calculator. I hope you enjoy it and you are keen to test it and to try it when it will be ready. Now, it's any question and time for discussion, we are available. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thanks, Serena. We are looking forward to using this calculator. Now we have a few minutes for observation, questions, and hopefully also answers. Please. If you use the microphone, probably is more easy and fast.
I think everybody's digesting all this information, I guess.
All right. I think an important information is that this kind of calculator is not either a game or an instant calculator. Some work must be done by the administrative staff and the university to have results in collecting data, computing something, and interpreting data, because the interpretation is very important to implement, to create some policies that can improve the environmental performance of any university. We have a couple of persons. Simone, please.
Yeah, I think that what you have presented today is very, very important, and also looks great, I have to say. And this contributes and can contribute to the success of the tool. One thing for which I think that this is important also is also for the self reflection of the university staff on what is available and what is not as data, because as always, sustainability needs data. And if you don't have the data, then you don't have a measure of sustainability. And here, I think that the first thing for which it is important, this calculator, is to make staff understand what is missing in their database in order to have a proper evaluation. And I think you have to valorize this also, not just the fact that you will get a number, but also the fact that you, as a university, can have or not the data to make these calculations.
Thank you, Simone. Carlena, please.
Hi, yes, thank you. This is amazing, and I'm here in Portugal visiting from the United States. I can't wait to have an opportunity to use this in my university. Similar to what was just said by Professor Simone, is it possible to have a technical report or something that would lay out all of the data that are needed, so that in thinking about implementing this at my university, I could start to push them to perhaps collect or be ready to provide certain aspects of data? Thank you again. This is an amazing project. I'm very excited.
Thank you. This is a very important question. Ale, please.
Yes, okay, two reflection or answer to both questions. I think, so we have learned, let's say, from previous calculator that we have developed, and we have learned that sometimes collecting some of these data is quite difficult. So I think the point that Simone was mentioning is really important. And we have structured the calculator so that it can work also, I mean, even if the university let's say, data on one specific element, so it will still give results, but it will also give, very importantly, this indication of where the data gaps are. The other feature that we have, that we are building in the calculator is the possibility to download all the collected data into a single Excel file. This because we have seen that in many cases, the data that will be needed for the calculator will probably come from different, let's say, offices or, let's say, offices of the university. So the calculator can really become also a way to centralize the data collection of the university, and then the Excel file can be extracted so that data can be reused in other exercises different from these calculator. So I think this is a really important aspect. Maybe the first time a university will use this this calculator, the main information it will get is not the footprint value, but the data gaps that the university has. On the second question from Carlena, we are working on, let's say, a simple guidebook, let's say guideline document that will explain all the data needs and also specifically indicate what exactly to report in the different categories. So because, for instance, in the food part, there are specific classifications that we are using. So there will be instructions on what to report within which section of the calculator. So this will be made available as well in the 4 languages. So this will be in Portuguese, English, Italian, and Greek. We expect the calculator to be ready at least, well, for the first will be made available internally to be tested by the 4 partner universities. Then it will go public, let's say, for everyone, most likely as of early next year. So this is when we expect that everyone will be able to use it freely online.
Okay, Ali. Is there any other comments from you?
Alessandro, there is one question on the chat about the paper, about the methodology. I think that you can answer this also. A question from Mariana.
Yeah, Sere, do you want to answer this?
Is it good? Okay, so yes, because the question asks if this equation or calculator maybe is similar to the journal article assessing the ecological footprint of ecotourism packages. Okay, so let me clarify that we have also another, let's say, we as Global Footprint Network are collaborating in an European project about sustainable tourism, and we have created another calculator to specifically assessing the ecological footprint of ecotourism packages. So let's say this, the calculation, let's say, for building the campus footprint calculator for the university, we have started from that experience, from the experience of the ecotourism packages and the footprint to calculate the ecotourism packages, but calculation are a bit different. Calculator behind the calculation are a bit different in this case. But yeah, we started to build the footprint campus calculator from the other one. Yes.
Thank you. We have 2 more observations, one from Sarah and the second from Gianpaolo. Sarah, please.
Mine is very short. It's just to add to what Alessandro said, that our concern was also that this calculator could be used by any type of university, and we also have in our project Universidade Aberta from Portugal. It is an open university that works mainly online, so the campus is completely different from the campus of the traditional university. So just to say that our concerns were also to build, as Alessandro said, a tool that could be used and adapted to different universities and different operations that are behind universities.
Thank you, Sara. Gianpaolo, please.
Thank you, Federico. I'm Gianpaolo Campana from the University of Bologna. I'm working on sustainability and sustainable manufacturing in particular. I was wondering if the footprint you are developing has some relationship with the organization environment footprint developed by the European Commission, by the research center in ISPRA. In particular, if there are some connection, or if is like similar to that one, but specifically developed for universities. I mean.
I can answer this. So let's say the name. There is a similarity in the name. But the organizational or the product environmental footprint developed by the JRC is, let me be critical now, is mostly an LCA analysis that they have renamed footprint because footprint is a popular tool and a popular name, and LCA is a popular tool but not a popular name. So both, let's say, the ecological footprint approach and the life cycle approach, they share this idea of let's say looking along the production chain of something. So let's say the main approach of both instruments is to track let's say the full life of an organization or a product that is being produced and what is the impact along their production chain. So there is similarities in this sense. Probably the carbon component of this calculator is somehow similar to what is in the organizational product footprint. So there are, let's say, some overlap probably between the two concepts, but they are not exactly the same. But your question makes me think that as part of the guidebook that we will provide, maybe we should add, let's say, some short description of like the differences or like overlap with the organizational product footprint. Yeah.
Thank you, Alessandro.
You're welcome.
So I don't have any other question from the audience, but I want to thank you all for this interactive moment. Now we can go ahead with the very last session, the last 5 minutes. I will introduce to you another intellectual output of the project. That is the way in which we can create a sustainability course to be included in a degree program in our university. I can share the screen right now. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. We present guidelines for setting up transdisciplinary sustainability courses, and I have to say that while the teaching module we have presented before is a 6-12 hours section within a single course, this proposal consists of an entire course that can be included in any degree program. And like in the case of the module, what we are proposing is very, very flexible. It's only inspirational for everyone who wants to introduce such a such a tool, a sustainability tool within a degree course. For providing these guidelines, we took advantage of the experience of the multi-year experience at the University of Siena, because we have been proposing a sustainability course for 9 years. The next one was will be the 9th edition. And this is a kind of a logo. You can see a kind of orchestra that can be assimilated to our course. And the instrument, if you take a look, the instrument writes the word sostenibilità, that is the Italian for sustainability. And every instrument contributes to complete the word sustainability. The teachers are like musicians. Everyone plays its own instrument, but together they can provide a kind of symphony. And the student must make the synthesis of what they attend in terms of arguments, in terms of languages, and in terms of idea. The characteristics of what we are doing here in Siena are that this proposal is an integrative optional course. That means that the students can insert the course within their plan. We started in 2013. It is open to every student independently of the degree course or the level. Also technicians and administrative staff are admitted to the course, and also everyone else, also from outside the university, can attend the lesson and make the exams. This consists of 48 hours. They are made of 24 2-hour seminar given by, this is the novelty, the main novelty, given by 24 different teachers. There is one professor that must coordinate and create a kind of agenda, calendar for all the lessons. In fact, 1 day per week is chosen at the beginning for giving all the lesson. We choose Friday afternoon every week from March to June. The place is always the same, or the distance tool can be always the same. And materials are collected from all the teachers, and the exams, the final exam is in form of text that resumes some arguments presented by all the teachers. The course is aimed to provide the basis for understanding the problems related to sustainability in all its facets, analyze the environmental, economic, social, legal, institutional, agricultural, communication, whatever, urban planning aspects of sustainability, but also geographical, mobility, statistical, whatever you want. Explore the transdisciplinary aspect that lead to a real understanding of the complexity of the reality in which we live, and make university students particularly prepared and also flexible, agile on all aspects of sustainability. The course in Siena has a history. For example, in 2017, it was awarded by the Italian Network of University for Sustainability as one of the 5 more interesting experience of sustainability didactics. And someone else talked about us in 2019. An article said, "Climate from strike to solution." The University of Siena inaugurates the course on sustainability because we started on March in the same day of the first international strike for climate. And in May, we have a lesson from given by the Fridays for Future members of here in Siena. It was very interesting, and students were very involved in their observation. This is only an example of what happened. For example, a couple of years ago, we have a starting lesson, a lesson 0 on sustainable development goal, a lesson about communication, a lesson given by the Slow Food Organization, a well-known organization that deals with food, a lesson about education in high school and intermediate school and elementary school, something about the planetary boundaries, and in this case there was the anniversary of the table of chemical elements, the lesson by Fridays for Future, and so on and so forth. In this specific case, in our guidelines, we structured the proposal into three main sections. The first one is the section of foundations that can be biophysical, economic, social, juridical, ethical, philosophical, but also including how to measure sustainability, so something about indicators or something about energy and sustainability. This is a kind of mandatory part and initial part of any sustainability course in order to introduce the students some important argument that regard the relationship between us, humanity, and the context in which we live. Then we can include the EUSTEP module in any sustainability course that can be restricted. It can be 4 to 6 hours. And the main argument can be the ecological overshoot and the fish game, the ecological footprint introduction in order to present the methodology, and the exercise made of the personal ecological footprint available on the internet. Then we have to fill the program with other lessons, and the lessons can be given, can be whatever. We propose in our guidelines a large menu, also based on the experience, the multi-year experience at the University of Siena, but many other lessons can be included. The lessons can be given by teachers within the university that is organizing the course, but also some external people can be invited, for example, from other universities or from organization. For example, you can invite Alessandro from the Global Footprint Network to say something about ecological footprint and so on and so forth. In order to implement the course, there are some practical questions that can be answered. For example, who should attend the course, how to choose the day, administrative problem and teaching plan. Probably this is the most important point. Who is the provider in practical term of the course? Is one degree course? Is one central institution director or something like this? How to create the didactic material. For example, we ask a teacher to provide some notes, how to be innovative with the pedagogical approach for the course, and how to assess the learning outcome. In brief, how to create an exam. So this is the brief notes and a summary of what you can find in the output, in the guidelines for creating a sustainability course that will be available in our website. This is also another important point of the EUSTEP project that we hope can be accepted and used in the future by every one of you. So thank you very much, and I can interrupt my sharing. Now I think we are a little bit late, and if there are not, probably Gianpaolo has something to ask. Just a final question.
Sorry, Alessandro already replied. It was kept the hand raised.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
So if my partners agree, we can conclude this meeting. I want to thank every participant. I want to thank the important support we always have from the Erasmus program, obviously, IKI, the 5 partners, the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, SDSN, Mediterranean and Black Sea, that are cooperating in disseminating the results of our project, the European Sustainability Week and the Italian Alliance for Sustainable Development enables us to participate to their festivals. And I want to thank all of you for participating, and probably I can say hello if the other partners and George have no other things to say. Okay, I don't think there is any other
Just
comment,
to say
so
thank you to everybody, and do not hesitate to contact either me or Alessandro or anyone else from the project for more details or information or whatever else.
okay, thank you very much. Bye bye, see you soon.